Every person that interacts with video games has a personal and different experience, and the reason I use the word interact instead of play is because watching someone else playing a game has always been part of people's lives. Back in the day, it was watching your older brother or sister, cousins or friends that had the console or game you didn't own. Nowadays, it's watching other players around the globe streaming the games. So even if you're not directly involved in gaming, you're still interacting with it. Although the experience between playing and watching is very different, the reasons you play or watch a particular game are the same in principle. You seek for certain emotions and specific things you want to put yourself into while playing or watching. Some people prefer competitive games, some others animated cute games, and probably most people prefer a mix depending on the style, the mood they're into, or the amount of energy and effort they want to spend. No doubt one of the most common things we all have is a list of comfort games, and regardless how straightforward that sounds, it's probably one of the most controversial ones.
In order to understand what comfort games stand for, defining comfort is probably a good place to start.
If you believe that comfort games are only specific genres or casual games such as The Sims, Animal Crossing, Tetris or Candy Crush, you're far from right. Yes, they're probably the ones you can think of when referring back to the dictionary meaning of the word comfort. But games and other hobbies are often way much more than that. What someone calls comfort, someone else might find quite the opposite, and that leads us back to the question around what sort of experience and emotions we want to trigger when we play those games. That's not different from other mediums. Take films as an example. I might find watching films on my PJs while laying in bed a very comfortable thing. But what if the films I like to watch are horror or intense films? Same happens with games. Like everyone else, I have a list of games that I call my comfort games.
One of them is a football game, and playing football games is never a laid-back experience.
Football games includes moments of pressure, agony, effort, frustration, reward, celebrations, and that feeling of one more game before I go to bed, which often keeps me up very late at night. Is that what someone would call a comfort game? Turn-based games sometimes considered as comfort games because you have the space and time to breathe and no rush on doing things, which sounds closer to what you would expect from a comfort game. And then you think about XCOM and Darkest Dungeon that are nowhere near to what you call nice and easy pace, and if you look at other turn-based titles like Into the Breach, they're probably the most intense and stressful games.
Yeah, maybe taking turns in a video game is not enough to make it comfort.
Puzzle games are probably the ones that fit the comfort description better than anything else, as they normally don't follow a particular story and most times are designed to be in small levels that only require some good thinking to solve, and it's very rare you feel you're threatened by enemies, which should bring the stress levels down and give you a more relaxing experience.
But on most of them, you're either running against the clock or you have to pay attention to all the tiny details in order your brain to work it out.
That also doesn't sound particularly relaxing, especially when you're stuck in a room and you've tried everything for the last hour, so you're ready to start banging your head to the wall as you lose all your patience. That's the point you switch it off, put up a first-person shooter and blast your guns while trying to calm down from the comfort game experience you just had.
Christ, what is that smell?
It's the smell of death.
There are actually many people that find first-person shooters quite a comfortable experience, as they know what they're doing, they're good at it, and there's not much to think about apart from killing everything it moves, and helps them clear their heads from all the daily stress and whatever troubles their minds for a bit.
So I think we have established already that the content or the genre of a game is not what defines it as a comfort one, but it's down to the person.
Another thing to consider is whether the difficulty of a game makes it a comfort one. Animal Crossing is a good example, where apart from the art direction that makes it very friendly and cute, the actual purpose of the game is for you to grow vegetables and flowers, buy items, customize your little avatar, create the house of your childish dreams and have fun. No threats, no stress, no time pressure, no drama. And yet, you still feel that you need to be there constantly to water your plants, collect everything, buy all the things as quickly as possible, and then a new DLC comes out. Everyone feels like they have to take a few days off of work to check everything
That's new and realise that actually what they were trying to do for months
doesn't matter anymore because there's new cool stuff out that they want to replace the old ones.
To me, all that sounds more like a commitment rather than comfort.
On the opposite side, a fast-paced tough game can arguably be the comfort game of someone as they jump in for half an hour every day to clear some levels, they feel rewarded once they succeed and feel very refreshed after that to carry on with their daily routines without keep thinking the game after, wondering when they'll be able to buy that nice rag to fit the wallpaper on the little island-based cottage. That brings me to another game I've got on my list as a comfort one, which is no other than Tetris Effect. I mean, someone could say it's Tetris, of course it's a comfort, easy to play and nothing to worry about game. The stunning visuals, the music that differs on every level and the simple rules of the game make it a great choice when you just want to play something for an hour without investing too much. And yet, I can assure you there are some levels in this game that I had to go more than 30 times to beat. I skipped dinner as I didn't want to stop until I finished that level, and the fact that I still remember the pain and frustration I was going through until I finally made it definitely makes me wonder if I need to move this game from my comfort list to the one that features games to bring me to my limits. So the statement comfort games are the easy games or those that have no fast pace and skill requirements, it's not true at all. Nostalgic old-school games are also very often mentioned as comfort games. People find playing Contra, Double Dragon or Alex Kidd quite relaxing and consider those as comfort games. Two things I want to point out here.
First, let's not forget that these games were not designed to be comfort game. They're vicious in many occasions, especially when it comes to saving your progress when you have to play the whole thing again because you lost all your lives. Second, don't tell me we'll be calling comfort games in 30 years from now titles like Dark Souls just because they will be nostalgic.
I guess the people who feel like that for nostalgic games are those who think comfort should probably reflect how well they know a game or how many times they have played them. Then why can't we call comfort any game that we invest hundreds of hours into? Or is it because we need to be good at a game to make it on the list? I can tell you I've got a few games on my comfort list that I'm not that great at, but I still feel they're serving the purpose. Doing some research on the web about comfy games, I found that many of them are those open world games where you can just take a break or use traversal as a means of relaxation and blend into the world of the game. Breath of the Wild and Red Dead Redemption are featuring most of those lists, and I suppose that no matter what is happening in the main story, you can just stop and look at the scenery, the wildlife, the amazing work the designers have made and feel revitalized. But these are not just walking simulators. It doesn't take long till you start your quests again and you're back to normal pace and face the next challenges. The lack of time pressure in between chapters and missions probably drive those comfy moments on these games, so it makes some sense, and the same we could say about games like Mass Effect, where the whole universe might be in danger but you can always take your time to wander on planets and do other stuff. But these are only tiny parts of the game, so there's a risk of confusing the ability a game gives us to slow down and relax in certain areas or parts of the world and its identity.
If a boxing game between each round has chill out music and the commentators are having a banter, we're still talking about boxing, right?
The more I search on the web, as well as I look at my list of comfort games, the more I realize it's not about the actual game. It's probably around how every one of us defines comfort, and as a result, where we draw the line of our comfort zone. To me, a comfort game is one that I can pick at any point, even 6 months later, without having to worry about the story details, but more importantly, without any particular special buttons, controls, or requirements to play. My list includes football games, racing games, fighting games, and some games that I've played way too many hours and I can pick very easily, such as Heroes of Might and Magic 3, which is probably not a very easy game, but as said, I've been playing that occasionally since my childhood, so it's well written on my brain. I know the music of every castle, I feel safe in this world, and although it's a game where every kingdom tries to conquer the map, which inevitably means countless battles and no time to hustle, it's still one of my top games to put on when I feel a little bit under the weather. So with all the information I had and judging by my list, which was all over the place, I decided to talk to friends. See what they think a comfort game is and actually what kind of games are on their list, and no surprise, it all linked back to emotions and sometimes the effort. From Football Manager, where you just spend a whole weekend with coffee and snacks as you go through tactics and logistics, to Counter-Strike, that is just easy to pick up and make as many kills as possible, and from Hollow Knight, that despite the level difficulty and Metroidvania elements, it gives them a relaxing vibe, to The Binding of Isaac, which is probably the most fast-paced, stressing but at the same time relaxing game ever created. Their lists include everything I wouldn't consider as comfort games before I start digging on it. Of course, Minecraft, Stardew Valley and Mini Metro are some of the games they've got on their list, but the variety of genres and type of games was just the proof that what we think as comfort game and what we choose to play when we want a comfort gaming moment is driven by the emotions we want to go through at that particular time.
Does your list include a variety of games? Do you have a specific game that you like playing when you have a cold? What do you think is comfort game? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Now go play something and chill out.